everybody. Thanks for listening to the Rundown with Ramon. This is Ramon Ray, publisher of zoneofgenius.com. Did y'all see a bit? I just was pausing, do so many shows and so many things, but I'm glad you're here at the Rundown with Ramon, where we help you live your best life, help you grow your business. Today, I'm with a friend of mine, Dr. Genie Snyder, who has an amazing consultancy, amazing business. And even though I've only seen a small slice of her in action, what I saw a particular day, I'll never, ever forget how she transformed someone right in front of me, just asking a few questions. Dr. Genie, welcome, and I hope your day is good. I hope things are well in your world as we dive into your world. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ramon. Thank you so much, and thanks for that introduction and that moment that you saw. I'm trying to remember what that was, the transforming piece. So thank you for that.
Yeah, when we were together at the Inspiring Youth on a Mission Summit,
Yes,
there was a young lady
yes.
sitting at the table, right? And she started to kind of tear up. As I remember, the short of it was she had some issues. We were all pouring into her, but I recall you kind of lasered in a good way. And whatever it was, I think that's probably another small slice of the work you do. We can just start right there. Is that about right-ish?
Sure, we can start right there. So yes, that is, that was an on the spur of the moment, but I think what I do best is I ask good questions. I help people walk through what they're working on with good questions, but that is part of I do executive coaching. I do coaching with people both in their speaking and in their work and life. I am primarily focused on how it affects their business or their work, whatever it is that they are doing, whether they're entrepreneurs, leaders. I work with leaders of leaders. That is my primary focus. There are a lot of people out there who want to be a leader, climb a ladder, but I'd like to be with the people who help lead other people. Also MC, am a professional speaker, and yes, consult and coach.
I love it, Dr. Genie. And by the way, how can we find you? Let's just talk right now. You said it already, but can you also tell us how we find you today, who you are? And then I'm going to start how you got here, by the way. But people who are listening to us are like, I want to get some of Dr. Genie. What should they do? Where should they go? Website, Instagram, TikTok, fax machine, whatever you wish. How do we reach you, Dr. Genie?
Yeah, that fax machine is really important. I want you to get on the fax machine today. If you can fax me like some Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies, that'd be good. Main direction is geniesnyder.com. I'm Genie, like a real genie in the lamp, Genie, Snyder, SNYDER.com. I say that because everybody spells it a different way, but I won't say it the wrong way. So geniesnyder.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. Is primary, Instagram, Facebook, and someone's inspiring me to go on TikTok, but I'm not there yet. So
I'm not either. Don't feel alone. I tried it. I've installed the app and deleted the app so many times. But everybody, that's geniesnyder.com. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Geniesnyder.com. Geniesnyder.com. As you're hearing our conversation, and want Dr. Genie to work with you, or as my friend Adrian Miller says, it may not be you, somebody who Dr. Genie has said kind of her core audience, or one thing she likes is leaders of leaders. So definitely hit her up. So Dr. Genie, as we're unpacking, let's talk about that leader of leaders. Who is that? What is a leader of leader? Give us maybe an example, no names, change the gender and all that, but example of some of your work, and you can explain what the problem was, why they needed you.
That's a great question. I will give you kind of an avatar.
Yeah.
I work with a leader who might be, I'll mix it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll give you, there could be a corporate leader. Okay. They could be someone who has been in the corporate space for a very long time, and they are ready to go to a different place in their leadership direction, I'll say. So it doesn't mean they're not being a great leader, but they want to do something different. And what I tend to find is people are at an intersection where they say, I've been doing this business for a very long time, or I've been doing this business for a short time, and now I want to make sure that I am leading the folks that I work with in a way that is inspiring for them. I want to develop leaders. So usually it's someone who's trying to, yes, grow their business, but they're also trying to grow it through people. So I help people find their genius, basically. I do say that, GENIEUS, find their genius. That's right. But obviously, I'm sitting here in the zone of genius with you, and find that genius that helps them perhaps bring in a piece of their experience, their knowledge, their heart that is something they might not have thought of as part of their leadership style or their leadership work. And that could be someone who said, well, I'm very creative over here, but maybe I don't bring that into my business. And maybe they should. Maybe they're an athlete. Maybe they are a chef on the weekends. Maybe they do all kinds of things. But what is that brings in something that is a new area or a nuance that might help them lead in a stronger way? So we help them bring out their genius. So it's not about a step process. I do have many, many processes, but it's not just a cookie cutter version. I actually ask a lot of questions and help them figure out where it is that they want to develop, or the kinds of people they'd like to work with. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, no, I love it. So I was on with my mutual friend Brian Hess yesterday.
Yes,
Pavement contracting.
Love Brian Hess.
Yes, indeed, and he has two businesses. Where he does pavement, but more than that, the whole Walmart and Sam's Club, all these big places. Manages their pavement. I'll call it that. And then two is he has a contractor training school. And I asked him what are the secrets of his successes, Dr. Genie, and I thought he was going to say TikTok. Social media marketing content, which all of that is to some degrees. Brian is everywhere building his personal brand, being the celebrity CEO of his business, I book. But he said one thing, and again, in these, 30-minute interviews, we don't have time to get the whole story here, but he said purpose, mission, values, hiring, leaders, etc. All the other stuff I'm sure is important, but that was the one thing he said, kind of like his job was to develop leaders who could lead. Unpack what you think he meant, why that's so important to a multi-million-dollar company like that. Brian's to the level he can't do everything at all. He needs to talk to 5 to 10 people who themselves probably have 5 to 10 people, then who have maybe hundreds. Unpack what you think, because he's our friend. We can talk about him behind his back. What you think he's going through and how he's building his company so successful just by him being a great leader, developing leaders who are leading others, then who are leading the whole ship. Unpack that for me, because I don't even know what to ask you, but I'm sure you can answer what I'm trying to ask.
Well, just knowing Brian a bit and working through, I mean, we're not like personal friends, but having seen him and been in the same room with him, he is focused, for one thing. You can see when he is speaking about his company that he is speaking about his people. So he's yes, he talks about the numbers and things like that, but he is speaking about his people when he talks about his company, and he is focused on how does he continually lift people up. It's not just only about getting the job done. It's about getting the job done in a way that is I guess aligned with what it is that he does. That he's not just about having a pavement company, and he's not just about having a multi-million-dollar company. He is about serving, I guess is the word that comes to mind for me. Serving his customers and serving the people that work with him. But it is not all about just they're serving him. It's about they're serving the customers, and he is serving them and helping them to be stronger and stronger leaders. That's what I always hear from Brian Hess, even if it's for 2 minutes or if it is for an hour-long workshop or just a conversation in the hallway. He is consistent. So I think that focus on his purpose, on his mission, but he is always, I'll just say, mixing up. I don't know how you make pavement, but mixing it into, it is baked in that he has, pun intended. He is, he bakes in the people development piece is what I hear.
Yeah, for sure. So let's extrapolate that, Dr. Genie, and talk to those who are listening to you today. And again, those of you who want to work with Dr. Genie or listening to this, you definitely want to go to GenieSnyder.com, Genie Snyder, and staying on the executive leadership. I'll probably shift to small business and the speaking in a minute. But now, how does what we're talking about, our friend Brian Hess, how does that translate to others who are listening, or some of the challenges or problems that you're helping people with? Or maybe I'm wording it wrong. Maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's you're helping just leaders do better, if you get what I'm trying to reverse engineer here. Somebody comes to you, they're running a $3 million, $20 million company. Now help us dive deeper. Why did they come to you? What are they seeing? And you said it already, but just giving you time and space to restate it even, if you get what I'm asking.
Thank you for that. A leader comes to me, maybe they don't know why they come to me. They know that there is a gap. I'll put it that way. They know that there is a gap either in their energy level about their business. Maybe they feel like they've hit a plateau, and I don't mean they're failing in any way. They just hit a plateau and they want to have their eyes opened. They want to think bigger. They want to perhaps think bigger or streamline processes. A lot of times people come to me because they are overwhelmed by what is going on in their business and things are going great, but they're juggling, all of the balls at one time. So maybe they're coming to streamline a process. One of the things that we do, we also have a consulting side of our business called the Genius Team, spelled with the extra E, geniusteam.com. So there may be a team of us that comes in to serve that company. So it may be that I am working with the executive leader or the executive team. And then my team is also working with that executive team and the people that report to them, because as you know, it's not just about one leader. So I usually work directly with that person who is trying to figure out what their next steps are. But maybe it is not even going bigger, going faster, going higher. It might be going slower for a time to allow them then to hit a new trajectory. So why they come to me, they may not know they're coming to me. It might be a conversation where we are somewhere else. Maybe I'm speaking on a stage or I'm emceeing. We talked about yesterday, you and I co-led a session about lessons from the green room. Right. So I was just emceeing FounderCon with Tamara Andrus, and we were in the green room, and I learned so much about watching those leaders in that room. And you and I talked about that as both as professional MCs and speakers. We talked about what you see when you're getting ready to get ready. And I think that's what I help leaders do, is get ready to get ready. Now, I may not be the person that helps them do every aspect of what's next, but what I help them do is think about their relationships. And when I say that, I mean relationships with people, both it could be outside their company and inside their company, and their relationship with what they want to generate next. Is that revenue? Is that more people? Is that a clearer, smaller team of leaders that maybe they elevate to help them do what it is they want to do? So in that scenario, it may be that someone's coming overwhelmed in a good way. It may be that somebody's coming in with a real issue, and that the one part of their company or business or work, entrepreneurship, et cetera, is, and I say entrepreneurship, even though we're talking about the corporate leaders right now, because I think everyone that is growing their business right now is thinking more entrepreneurially. And I can talk about that more, but I think they are starting to, when they start to ask questions, that's when I know it's time for me to step in and ask some more questions. If they're not asking questions, they're not ready.
Yeah. And you do that so well. You ask questions so well, Dr. Genie. I'm
Thank
curious,
you.
You're welcome. What do your clients call you? Do I call you a business coach? Do I call you a mindset coach? Is it something out of TV where the limo pulls up the lady in the heels and the jackets going up the escalator and people are scared? I mean, what do we call you? What do you call yourself, or what do your clients call you? Those who are thinking of, do I need her? Because you span so many areas. You mentioned systems and processes. I'm thinking of McKinsey, Dr. Genie, or is it, hello, I'm Dr. Genie. Let's light some candles. Who are you?
Yeah, the latter is not it. The light the candles gal is not it. That is a funny question, but they call me Genie. Okay. And that is why actually you're one of the people who's helped me to think about how I brand that. So they call me Genie or Dr. Genie, but it is they might call me coach. They might call me consultant. I sometimes go into the coaching consulting because they saw me as speaker or MC. So sometimes I enter in that way and they go, oh, and we need you further in this business. Let's drill down. Or I may have been their coach and they go, oh, we need you to speak to all of our clients at our conference. So I can't sometimes go in that way. So I would say it's interesting because a lot of people say, we need to call Genie. I like that. And they're not naming it. They need to call Genie. And so that's why I've had to get the cobbler's children have no shoes sometimes. I've had to get more comfortable with saying, okay, I'm Genie and I'm there. And so if it depends, I think that is some of the magic, pun intended, that we bring is I'm listening. And I've had clients call me. I'll give you a great example. I had an executive VP call me one day and she said, hey, we need you to come in and do a team building retreat. And we do retreats, but I'm very intentional about it. And she said, come do a team building retreat. Our people morale is low. We've had a leader leave. It was really toxic. So we need to come and do a retreat and just fire people up. And I paused, which sometimes is the most important thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I am happy to come do a retreat, and I don't want to talk myself out of a
Mm-hmm.
potential business relationship
Absolutely.
here.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think that will fail.
Mm.
Without knowing much more, I knew a little bit of what they'd spoken about, which is confidential, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I said that will fail because it will look like, oh, a rah-rah thing, and people are hurting. And I meant that in a business sense, it was a very toxic environment. I said, we have got to come in and listen first, ask questions first. And I didn't mean like a full-blown assessment kind of thing. I meant let's come in and listen to the people. I think that's one of the things that I do best. I come in and listen to ask questions and listen well. Then we design what they might need next, as opposed to buy my A, B, C, or D. We come in and listen. And so that is, it is hard to know maybe perhaps what to call what I do, because it is a layering effect. Yeah. And more often than not, when we get to an outline of services and we're saying, yes, we're ready to work together, and I feel like we've got that, that alignment with a purpose and intention from both sides, it is, you probably need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So we may come in and ask some questions. We might then talk with your leadership team. That retreat might be third or fourth of the things that we do to make sure that it has outcomes that are not just measurable, but are meaningful. And that is where I love to be. That's when you know you're in the zone of genius. And I mean that intentionally, not just shameless plugging, but that is the zone of genius. You know when there's a flow. Yeah. And that is what inspires me to keep doing what I do.
I love it. Yeah, no, I love it. And I think I would put you definitely use another name, management consultant. You have never used that word, but it's one of those things, large corporations, different ways to do it, but that
yes.
You can't if you can put your finger on the problem, maybe you don't need Dr. Genie. Again, my word's not yours, but like, just hire a Facebook ads expert, hire a person to take the violence out of the room. That's easy. But it seems to me you're these things where our company, something's out of sync. We don't even know what to do. Dr. Genie, come in. And then we get to it. So I like what you said, and I
like the out of sync.
Yes,
I like the out of sync. That actually is a good one, because we might not be able to put our finger on it,
right?
And we might not be. That's why I come in asking questions first. I don't come in and say I'm going to give you a treat, or I'm going to give you a 12-week coaching process. Yes. Because I've also told leaders, they say, I need to hire you as a coach. Well, what's going on? And maybe that's not the first step. So we may come in and do something else. I'll give you another example. Please. A large, a global company who they're manufacturing and sales. And they called me and said, we need you to come in and do a leadership retreat. And in asking a few questions of the CEO, that sort of thing, the CHRO and I decided we're not ready for that.
I love it.
He said, I want you to come in first and coach some individual leaders, which prepared me so much better to now I know from those leaders' perspectives what's really happening around that table. In Breakfast with Champions, we talk about bringing people to the table. You got to wait till people get to that table. And once I can hear from around there, like sometimes I literally, when I'm talking about leadership teams, I will sit at my table in my office and I will put pictures around of the people that are on that leadership team and really think about what's that intersection. Or if I'm trying to help people build a leadership team, I do the same thing. Like, what are the gaps? What's missing? We do a lot of work with people. So we do behavior profiles. We do leadership styles. We work with DISC. We do all kinds of things. But we layer it in. Somebody may say, please come in and do 360s with us. Well, why? Because that's going to answer your questions. And there's been like I've got a current scenario right now. I don't know that a 360 is what they need first, because that could put the other people on edge to say, I don't want to talk about my leader yet. We got to find out about them first. So I try not to come in and put a Band-Aid on. I try to come in and let's see where the gap is. What are you really feeling? And then we apply business principles to it. So yes, I'm sometimes called a management consultant. Sometimes I'm called a coach. Sometimes I'm called that MC or speaker. And most of the times I'm called Genie, and let Genie come do her magic.
Yes.
But it's not me. It's working in tandem with
I
them.
understand. No, I get it. Let's talk to these smaller businesses, Dr. Genie, who can work with you as well. And we've talked about
Yes.
the larger companies, let's say the whatever million size, but the smaller business working with you or not. So take this wherever you want to go. But what are some things you've learned that, hey, listen, you're at $200,000 in sales, $800,000 sales. It's just you and a bunch of freelancers. Dr. Genie, again, let's assume they're not working with you. What are some tips like right now you'd say, you know what, here's some common things. If you can do this, here's some common things that could help you. And again, I'm already knowing you may need to ask me more questions, but since this is fictional, any top 3, 4, 5 things you're like, you know what, if you're at 350,000 and you're making this cup, I'm just, setting up, making a scenario,
Right.
you got a few freelancers and you're overwhelmed for sure. Trying to grow. Maybe you're wondering whether you should hire an employer or not. Take whatever you like. Just give us a bit of knowledge that you can say, hey, Ramon, here's a few things that I've seen that can help with pretty much anybody. If that's fair.
I'll give an exact example comes to mind right away of someone that's working with. And I think one of the things is, as entrepreneurs, we all, regardless of level, if you're just starting out or you're at 350 or wherever you are, I think we're starting out, we tend to have that question about, do I hire a whole team to go out and employ a whole bunch of people to help me because I know I can't do it all? Or do I do contractors in between? And I think yes could be the answer to either. What I try to find out is, because of the style of that entrepreneur and the purpose, we obviously talk about vision a lot. What do you, and I don't just say, what's your vision? I say, what do you envision? And I literally start with the words, what do you see? When we are a year down the road, 6 months down the road, sometimes I'll say 3 months down the road, if they're really having to work through something. And I'll say, what is it that you are, that you see? Or what would you like to see? And even when I'm planning events for people, I'll say the same thing. What do you see when people are walking out that door? What are they seeing? What are they saying? And we go there first. So I really work with a lot of visuals. When somebody sees that, I think they sometimes think, oh, I'm going to either save money or save time by having a whole bunch of people, mixing in. You're a master at knowing how to employ people's skills. Just knowing how you build your team, and I'm not just blowing smoke, don't do that. But I mean, you know, when you need this, you hire the person to do exactly that. What I have found in entrepreneurship from my own, and as well as working with so many clients through the years, is sometimes they will hire so many people that there's a big gap. Either there's a big gap and something's falling through the cracks, or there's duplication of services. And one of the things we really work with is streamlining processes that may not look like manufacturing streamlining. It may look like very people-oriented processes or kind of ethereal processes, and we can still map them. We can still say, how do you answer the phone? And what's taking so long to get from that first phone answering to the outcome that customer is looking for, even if it's for today's outcome. So we might look at that. The other thing is, you may be spending so much of your time as the entrepreneur, as the CEO, as the celebrity CEO, doing that, putting that grout between the two people. So this has been handed off. Then I spent all my time learning what that person did so that I can hand it off to the next person. That may be such a waste of time. We want to invest time, as we were talking about today, but that may be a waste of time because you're spending still so much of your time where you could have maybe hired that person that knows, has the vision, can see it, and connect those dots. I talk a lot about intersections. I talk a lot about connecting things that don't seem to go together, like generating relationships and generating revenue. Those don't seem to go together, and yet they're all about it. Or because somebody has knowledge in this and knowledge in that, the intersection of that might be where the magic is.
Dr. Genie, this is amazing. I can think of one gentleman who I know who has a IT company who probably needs you. So I'm going to make a recommendation to you.
I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, because as I'm thinking, I'm really, you and I have known each other for a couple of years now, 3, 4, I can't remember, 2 years. So no, longer because of,
longer there, but
yes,
this is our anniversary, Ramon. We actually re-met in person 2 years ago this week.
Yes. So that's beautiful.
Isn't that funny?
Dr. Genie, what else haven't I asked you? There's so many things we could talk about. If you would like to talk on the speaker side of what you do as well, if you just don't mind touching on that, and what speaker you help. Yeah, just what's the those who want to be speakers, who are already speakers like Ramon, want to get better. I know you can help us, and or those who don't know anything about it beginning, do you help them too, or do they need to do more work? But just answer however you wish, the speaker side of what you do. Share with us about that. Again, everybody, sorry, Dr. Genie. By the way, everybody, I tend to ask 47 questions in one breath, and I know Dr. Genie can handle it. Everybody can, but I'm aware that's just me. I throw
me off at all.
But I just want to say, everybody, we're here talking to Dr. Genie Snyder. You've already heard just now how she can help you, what she does, who she is, but you can find her at geniesnyder.com, GENIESNYDER, geniesnyder.com. You can definitely find her. She's a friend of mine. I trust her. And if you're even a hint, if you're looking at, hey, it seems like she could help me, just find her online, and she'll be glad to spend 2 or 3 minutes with you. So she
15,
can help.
Yeah, I'll do connect call, a 15-minute connect call.
Dr.
That's
Genie,
right.
Talk about the speaker side of what you do. Share with us what you do and how that works, please.
So I love working with speakers, and I'm not one who necessarily I am a speaker, and I'm not one that sells the speakers. Mm-hmm. But there are some of my folks that come along where either we talk about their speaking as part of their coaching, as part of their development as a leader, because it may be that what they need help on is speaking more effectively at meetings that they're leading, or helping their team to speak better. So it could be something that's just sort of baked into what they do as a leader, corporate, higher ed, all of the things. Maybe I'm not great at leading meetings. I gave an example. I was helping coach someone who was interviewing for a big jump in a position. And so we came in as part of that and help them get ready for the presentation they were making to an open group. So it sometimes is that. Who I don't help in speaking is if you come in and you want to have an exact, you want me to tell you how to write that speech and how to have a cookie cutter speech so that you can be like them. Okay, I'm not your girl. I am not your girl. If you want to come in and you are trying to get a message out that you really feel is important for the world, and you may not know how to get it there, I help you in 2 ways. One is on the creating it part, the writing it part. I'm a pretty good editor. And so I can come in. Now you've got to do the work. If you're the speaker. So we'll pretend. I can't even pretend with you, Ramon. I can't even pretend with you. So if let's say pretend we got Bob over here, and Bob's coming in and he goes, hey, I got an idea and I want to throw it out there and I want to get on stage. Well, there's a long way between there and the stage. So first, I'm going to dig down into Bob's genius and find out what Bob wants to get out there. But I'm also going to find out a lot about Bob, because how he's going to be an effective speaker on stage or wherever he wants to speak, online, etc. Then I'm going to help Bob define his genius to get it out there in the way that he speaks. It's not going to be like the next person. And it's not going to be a cookie cutter approach like here's how to build a speech. So that's one thing I do. The other thing is we may have someone who's a seasoned speaker or speaks some, and maybe they've been doing it and haven't gotten paid yet, but they're speaking some, but they're trying to get paid. And so we'll talk about the differences in that scenario, but it doesn't matter if I'm talking to Bob over here or, Miss Got Rocks over here that wants to get paid. It's still going to be an authentic message, and it's going to be something that's going to serve some audiences out there. And if it's not about getting a message out that's going to help someone and serve, I'm probably not your girl. If you're willing to hang with me and be a little creative and maybe go a few steps back from the table before you come forward, then I'm your girl.
Which is a little bit of humility inside, right? A little bit of humility.
Yeah. And I also work with, and that can be whether we're trying to just get better at doing meetings or presenting ourselves well, or as a member of a corporate team, or maybe I've moved up to executive level, et cetera. Or maybe I'm trying to get noticed. Maybe I'm a new emerging leader and I want to get noticed. The other thing I help is I've produced and emceed TEDx's. And so I help people do a TEDx. Very different animal. Everybody thinks, if I get a TEDx and I'll be a speaker. TEDx is a very different animal. And if you want to do a TEDx, I can help you. But it's the hardest people to coach on doing a TEDx are professional speakers.
I can believe it.
If they are not coachable. And so the last 2 professional speakers I worked with were very coachable, and they rocked it because they were open to it. But getting ready for TEDx is very different than doing something where you can still be spontaneous and that sort of thing. Both incredible opportunities.
That's right.
Very different.
Yeah, no, Dr. Genie, that was powerful. And I think as we come towards an end here, but I'll leave some space to anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to mention. But as a professional speaker myself, and even as I say that word, it's hard. I have issues inside me like proclaiming it. But yes, I'm paid to speak, fly all over the world. 2024 is already being booked. But I'm saying that to say we can all do better. And so I want to clarify that as well. I think my buckets would be to those who never spoke before, not really good speakers on stage. We wouldn't put anybody down, but we'd say, no, you need help just talking. Then there's those who can, maybe put some words together, but they're trying to learn the speaking business, and I can go on. But my point is, as myself, who's a speaker as you are, I could use a Dr. Genie, flying with me or being and watching tape. Hey, Ramon, here's 2% better, 5% better. Here's how
I love that. Yeah.
Hone your message. So I just wanted to tell my colleagues who are watching this that we can all do better. Depends on, your time and budget and all that stuff. But as you go to certain levels, but everybody can use, even if it's just a third party watching you and can say, here's what I observed. Because you won't get that from a client per se. That's even beneficial. So
that is true. And I need the same thing. I mean, you and I can do that for each other, but I think that is important once you're even in the business for a long time. And, anything you do for a long time, if you're not continually honing your craft, if you're not continually listening for what is it that's next, and if you get it from someone that you respect, that's the whole thing of why we as coaches need coaches, why we as entrepreneurs need other entrepreneurs, why we need people that help us in an area. I always have at least 3 coaches going, and usually they're in 3 specific different areas. It's one of the reasons I'm in your coaching program with Celebrity CEO Coaching. And that is not a shameless plug. That is why we can only get better if we have other people getting better beside us. I think when you ask me what people call me, a lot of people call me, sometimes I'm called a wizard, sometimes I'm called a genie, but I think I'm an advisor to leaders. So it's not all about, it's Tuesday at 12, here's your hour. It is more about those phone calls, those texts, those emails going, Genie, I'm in a meeting, this is going on, got any feedback? Love that. I love that, because now I know we've got flow. We're not just waiting for next Tuesday at 12. And so a lot of the things, the challenges in my being an entrepreneur is there's only so many hours in the day. And so I can't coach individually all the time. So one of the things you asked about that we have coming up in starting in the new year is GPS. And it's Genius People Strategist. And that is group coaching. And let me rephrase that. Okay. It is a leader experience. It's an experience for leaders of leaders. So it's not just a coaching. It's something where people would come in, and you need to either you've got some leadership experience, but you don't have to have 30 years of leadership experience. But our intention is that intersection of both emerging leaders and leaders of leaders, even senior leaders who are emerging into another area. And the intersection of multi-industry, I intentionally do not work in just one industry. I have always kept it multi-industry because I love to take something from manufacturing and talk to a higher ed person. I love to take somebody who's in the service industry or real estate and talk to a banker. I love to mix up things that don't make sense together. Medical field, talking with someone in education, those strange intersections and connections are where I think I see the energy the most as I advise leaders. So Genius People Strategists will be starting in 2024 early, and we'll have some scoop out there so that I can serve with a lot of people at one time. But it is an experience. It's not just come take a class and go. It is the connection of the people. There's a number of layers to that, but Genius People Strategist. So GPS, because it gives direction.
I love that. Everybody, I'm sure there's a link to that when it comes out, depending on if you're watching this, whenever you're watching it, but geniesnyder.com, I'm guessing, check that out somewhere. It'll be on there and somewhere. And I just want to say, Dr. Genie, it's beautiful to get to know you better as a friend. And I can say, and again, I know we both appreciate each other, but I'll write back at you, say that I appreciate you as a human. I appreciate your smile. I appreciate your candor, always being able to be frank with love. I appreciate how brilliant you are, Dr. Genie. Really, I mean it. You're just a beautiful human. And I must say, it's interesting, as you said, that everybody has strengths. And I'm not saying this self-deprecating, the strengths you have, all that you just said. I'm a pretty good guy, but I don't have the strengths you have at all. In the same way as you've already affirmed to me. Yeah, I'm a marketer. I'm a pitchman. I own it, no doubt. Barnum and Bailey, bring it, baby. That's me, and you're learning some things from me. So I think it shows you that two amazing
Absolutely.
professionals we have to learn from each other, take a little bit from each other. So, Dr. Genie, anything last words you wanted to end with before we end today's discussion?
It's all about the genius connections. You're one of my favorite humans, Ramon Ray, and I thank you for this opportunity to be with you.
You're welcome. And everybody, get to know Dr. Genie at geniesnyder.com. My name is Ramon Ray. Get to know me at ramonray.com. Just Google me, not Ramoncito, Lila Ray. It's just ramonray.com. This is The Rundown with Ramon. If you want to be on the show, DM me, email me, ramon@ramonray.com. And don't forget to check out geniesnyder.com. Take care, and thanks for being here today, everybody.